Hello everyone and welcome back to English Total. Today we are taking a long journey back in time, nearly 3,000 years. We're exploring one of the oldest and most influential stories in human history, Homer's ancient Greek epic poem, the Odyssey. We will also look at Hollywood's latest visual adaptation, Christopher Nolan's blockbuster film. But before we dive into the new movie, let's start at the very beginning. What exactly is this legendary tale? The Odyssey is an ancient Greek epic poem attributed to an apparently blind poet named Homer, who, according to historians, lived around the 8th century BC. It serves as a sequel to Homer's other famous poem, the Iliad. While the Iliad tells the story of the bloody Trojan War, the Odyssey focuses on what happened after the war ended. The hero of the story is Odysseus, the clever king of the island of Ithaca. After the Greeks defeat Troy, thanks to Odysseus's famous idea of the Trojan horse, he sets sail for home. However, instead of a quick journey, his trip takes an agonizing 10 years. That means he spends 20 years away from home in total. 10 years fighting in Troy, and 10 years wandering the treacherous seas. During his long voyage, Odysseus faces terrifying monsters, dangerous sea storms, and angry gods. One of his most famous encounters is with the Cyclops, a giant one-eyed monster named Polyphemus. Odysseus uses cleverness rather than brute force to survive. He tells the monster that his name is Nobody, blinds the giant while he sleeps, and escapes by clinging underneath the bellies of sheep. Later, he encounters Circe, a powerful witch who turns his sailors into pigs, and the Sirens, winged singers whose beautiful music lures sailors to crash their ships into jagged rocks. Odysseus wants to hear their music safely, so he orders his men to tie him tightly to the ship's wooden mast while they plug their own ears with beeswax. Meanwhile, back in Ithaca, things are desperate. Everyone assumes Odysseus is dead. Dozens of arrogant men called suitors move into his palace. They eat his food, drink his wine, and pressure his loyal wife, Queen Penelope, to marry one of them so they can claim the throne. Penelope uses clever tricks to delay them, holding out hope that her husband is alive. Their son, Telemachus, also sets out on a dangerous journey to find news of his lost father. Here's a fun fact for literature lovers. Even though the poem is named after Odysseus, he doesn't actually appear until Book 5. The first 4 chapters focus entirely on his son, building up excitement and suspense before we finally meet the legendary hero. Originally, the Odyssey was not written down in a book. It was an oral tradition. Professional storytellers called bards memorized thousands of lines of poetry and performed them with music in public halls. That oral origin explains why the story uses repeating phrases and clear patterns. It helped the storytellers remember the long tale. Over centuries, it was transcribed, becoming a foundational pillar of world literature. Now, let's fast forward to today. Filmmakers have tried to adapt the Odyssey many times, but the latest cinematic release from Hollywood takes this classical story to an impressive new level. Directed by Christopher Nolan, the new film brings Homer's mythic world to life, using real, physical sets, practical effects, and massive IMAX cameras. Matt Damon stars as the battle-worn Odysseus, alongside an impressive cast including Tom Holland as Telemachus and Zendaya as the goddess Athena. What makes this new release special is how it balances realistic human emotion with grand, mythic action. Older movies often treated Greek myths like simple monster films. However, this adaptation treats Odysseus as a traumatized soldier, desperately trying to reunite with his family. It focuses heavily on the theme of nostos, the ancient Greek word for homecoming, which gives us our modern English word nostalgia. The true battle isn't just fighting monsters, but finding a way back to who you were before the war. Seeing the ocean storms and the island of the Cyclops on a huge screen makes you realize why this story has survived for thousands of years. Whether you read the ancient poetry or watch the modern film, the Odyssey remains the ultimate adventure story. That's all for today's episode. Pick up a translation of Homer's poem or check out the new movie in theatres. Until next time, happy listening.